Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and it's time for the Full Metal Panic Volume 1 review. This one probably review is not going to be maybe as good as the other ones. I mean, I did write a lot of notes, but I just kind of wanted to touch on a few subjects. Also touch on the collector's edition that you can purchase. We'll go over the collector's edition. So, for the main volumes, essentially on Amazon, you can get all of them for about $100 or so, a little over 100. Maybe you can get some discounts elsewhere. But if you like reading digitally, you can purchase each individual volume for I think. Hold on. Well, let's go to we'll go to Bookwalkers. I know they're on there. You can get each individual volume for about $7.99. So give or take whatever you want, but regardless of the fact, the collector's edition is very nice. Like I said, I have my own copy. Yes. Anyway, so you get all the volumes. You also get the inside. You get the color portions for each of the volumes, and then you also get whatever black and white photos there are as well. So just something to keep in mind. They do look really good. It kind of feels a bit of the time, just very classic art style look. One of the things that the light novel does, and that's right off the bat, is that Chidori has black hair, and this could be a mistranslation. I was trying to look through the Japanese version. I couldn't actually confirm whether that it's black hair or not because it reads sideways and everything. I'm like, but yeah, she does have. So primarily, she does have a bluish hair, kind of more bluish turquoise hair as seen in the anime. But in the light novel, they say black hair. It's not the big of the world, but I think it would have been kind of interesting to see if she did have black hair, what that would look like. Sakura also has black hair. But I want to share a couple of notes that I have written down. So yeah, black hair. The reason people like her, just going over Chidori, and I should say Kamina, because Kamina is her first name, so maybe I'll try to do that, but I'm just so used to saying her last name. She has a no-holds-bar attitude, and then I kind of write it, she's the VP of the student council, though it was because of her. She was kind of forced into it. She has a people-pleasing nature, and the ha-ha-ha thing that we saw in the locker room, that means I don't know, but this conversation's over. And then we also get the Whisper Girl in the beginning. She was get teased by the pilot. He didn't really want to kill her, but he could have. The man that was with her was from Mithril. He was supposed to gather info, but he didn't do so. There's also cannabinoids. I could look this up, see if it's actually something, but I forgot to do that. Hold on. Oh, give me one sec. She was given cannabis drugs, so she was getting basically version of pot. And then Reagan was the one who kind of started the development of the AAS, so due to his Star Wars program. Sosuke is also the same age, so the wiki was wrong about that. The prologue ends, so the prologue begins with the end of episode 7, so them getting the paper. We actually get a lot more context, which is primarily what the novel does, is the novel expounds upon many different things, so it has a lot more information because the books can go over a lot more detail. So one to keep in mind. The reason they were trying to get they needed paper, and they needed to get it without nobody noticing, and she was kind of talking up the teacher, learning about India. Hold on, my dog is coming inside. Mal and Kurt have a beef, and it's something I should have brought in the novel. I should have brought up in the anime reviews, but that's just something they do have, and that's kind of furthers relationship. Also, Mal smokes, and she is not part of the mission report in the first episode when they talk about Chidori. Whispered is censored in the information, and then kind of later on in some other scenes, Sosuke is interrogated in the locker room when he's when Chidori is in the locker room and pushing everybody down, and there's like a big threat. Mithril is known. Tissa is given a kind of a proper introduction. We also know that the name of the boat is the Toothledan. That wasn't given options. She also has gray eyes and ash blonde. The anime version of her, I wouldn't say this is ash blonde, how they do in the anime, but because I will show briefly what her hair looks like. We'll get to her later, essentially, but she kind of gives off like a more purplish silver vibe, so not so much blonde, and that could be due to the coloring at the time. So that's not a big deal. Just something to keep in mind. Something I was like just noticing. The events pretty much play out as it is in the manga, just a lot more detail. Although where Chidori assigns him to be garbage is it happens later, and then like him getting getting injured and taking a break off, that happened a little bit earlier. Garon is introduced, like that's all in chapter 1, like like the Russian scene. And then also later in the evening, Chidori talks to her little sister, so her little sister plays a little bit more development of the events. Garon discusses why they can't kidnap Chidori in the city. There is no gum scene. The type of warhead they used to take out the Russian base was a G-type Tomahawk. When Hurt comes back from the date, there is no gun threat from Sosuke or Mao. They just recognized it, but they do give him a little bit of beef on what they say. The interaction between we also get the full interaction between the pilot and Garon when he's aboard the airplane, and then the country is in fact North Korea. It's not some other weird country they made up. I could see why they did that. Tesla and Callahan think the airplane hijacking was not a country but a person. The gown that Chidori wears with the examination of the girl, she is in a blue gown. We hear Chidori's thoughts in the tube, so we hear a lot inner monologuing. Sosuke is actually able to confirm it's actually Garon instead of being the wishy-washy it is in the anime. We learn a little bit more about Callahan and Sosuke's background, a little bit more about Garon. So that's a lot more detail. Sosuke interrogates the man for Chidori's location. The doctor gives a better description of the whisper, but Garon has to fill in the details later. And then at the end of the fight between Kurt and Garon and the explosion, we get it's from Garon's perspective, like the damages and everything. We also get a better understanding of the time frame. So when Sosuke gets when he gets into the Alabast, it's about 17 minutes before he has to get to the ocean and everything, and then like the fight with the Garon and the Alabast is actually just about 5 minute battle. It is super quick, and I think in the anime it makes it seem a little bit longer. There's also a dog attack right before the Arbalest shows up, so that's something they didn't show in the anime. Unfortunately, dogs do get killed, so I can understand that, and along with the smoking. They're very anti-smoking culture over there. I will say the one thing that the anime does do right. Actually, one more thing: the Arbalest, when he gets attacked by the Carlisle's, when he uses the what is it? What uses the drive system that allows the force field. It actually destroys part of the Arbalest's head. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But like overall, in terms of the novel, it is pretty faithful. The anime is very faithful. Just a lot more descriptions, maybe a little reworking of events. But other than that, the novel, what I like about the novel is that I feel like it's, even though it is a very still silly, the comedy aspect doesn't come across very much. It does feel like a B novel, I guess, say towards the end, but it definitely gives off a very kind of more serious vibe, very intense, like a Mitch rap series, and that's kind of what drew me in. I asked my dad to read it, even though he likes more mass paperback. I'm like, I felt like the stories were the seriousness just was more in tune. I don't know. It's just a weird feeling where I think the novel. I think the novel just comes off better as like a more serious thing, and there's less fan service, so there's that more serious moments. I don't know. It's just a really weird thing. Like the B movie nature comes later, but in like the beginning, everything it feels like a proper like wartime novel spy like fiction series, and I that's what I really appreciate about it. And I also appreciate the old school artwork from the time, the old school looks. It's definitely like they gives off a lot brighter vibe than the anime. Like the anime has like a duller color, whereas this is a lot richer in color than light novels. Which hey, that's just the anime. But I'd be curious if they got to remake it, if they would make it dull or make it a little bit more vibrant. Maybe something like Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai. But yeah, I personally I would recommend the novel more because you're getting the full experience. Like you are, even though the detail like the robots details are missing and the fight scenes are a lot better. I appreciate the extra little detail and just feeling more. There's more characterization. Everything you hear inner thoughts monologues, and it feels like a proper like war thriller or spy thriller, not spy thriller series. That's what I really like about the series. It doesn't feel like an anime series or something by Japan. It feels like, it feels like kind of like an American series or something. I don't know. It gives off that like Mitch Rapp or James Bond feel. I don't know. That's the vibe I get, and I think that's what the author is intending, and that's what I appreciate about that series. But anyway, I've rambled long enough, I believe. I'll see you guys next time I'll do a video. I'll do episode 8 for anime on Friday. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next time. The doggy is wanting to be a little bit more adventurous. So yeah, anyway, have a nice day. See you guys next time.